Well, one of the key messages about this move is that Nauru recognizes one China principle and adopts the UNG 2758 resolution in recognizing there is but one China in the world.
Yes.
So how do you understand the one China principle?
My understanding of the one China principle is that anything that deals with the one China principle, in all our dealings with China and the rest of the world that touches on China, that will be at the forefront of our foreign policy, is the one China principle.
How does the Nauru government plan to adhere to the one China principle?
Adhering to the one China principle is to ensure that all that we do, whenever it touches China, complies with the one China principle. This is the relationship, even though it's new, the welcoming gesture of China made us feel as we were an old friend. Not just an old friend of 10 years, 20 years, say like an old friend of 100 years, 200 years.
Well, on January the 15th, the Nauru government announced that it recognizes the one China principle and sever its so-called diplomatic relations with Taiwan. Well, Mr. Foreign Minister, as you just mentioned, this is not a decision made by a single person, but a collective decision, a motion that was approved and passed by the Parliament of Nauru. So what are the rationale behind such a decision?
Well, you've done your research quite well. And like I said, it was a decision not instantaneous, it's in its making. It was a decision that has been steadily coming along. Now, the rationale behind it, of course, is about Nauru's development strategy. No country, no developing country wants to be left behind. China stepping in, second biggest economy. It is branching out in international aid, unprecedented in the last 100 years. Why not come on board? Why not partner with China in Nauru? I mean, we've got a big Chinese population in Nauru. We've got a lot of imports coming in from China into Nauru. We've got a Chinese company building our ports. We've got a Chinese company, same Chinese company, helping establish our cable link to our solar panels to help with renewable energy. So all of that was already happening on island.
What were the the politicians, they were thinking about, restoring diplomatic relations with China? And also, I believe you've been talking to your people since this decision was made. What are their response like?
The decision within Cabinet and Caucus was very strong. There was robust discussions, there was frank discussions, and we looked at overall the picture of what it means for Nauru. Decision was made at the executive level, and we recognized the one China policy. To reassure the Nauruan people, we took it to Parliament the next day. That Parliament sitting basically really had nothing but the discussion and debate on the recognition of the one China principle by the government of Nauru. The motion was put on the table, or on the floor, by His Excellency the President of Nauru, David Ayang. I seconded the motion, and debate ensued. But the amazing part of that story was that when a division was called in Parliament, and those who were asked to support the motion were asked to stand, every single member of Parliament stood. Shows the absolute bilateral unity of Parliament in supporting the recognition of the one China principle. My resolve in following the one China principle was absolutely stout, strong, set in concrete.
Well, in recent years, we've seen other countries choosing to cut ties with Taiwan and established or restore diplomatic relations with China. Many believe that this shows the one China principle is where the global opinion trends and the arc of history bends. So what's your take on this trend?
Well, I mean, I think we're the number in
183rd.
183rd
Yes.
country to have recognized the one China principle. It's the trend of the world, isn't it? It's unavoidable. This is the right side of history. We have a saying back home where one drop of water creates an ocean in a lifetime. And I said, the ocean will be the gavel, like a judge, hitting to judge that Nauru stands on the right side of history.